What allows you to do this to me? Because this isn't just a prank. No, this took planning, coordination. I mean, how many weeks? Or was it months? It couldn't have been easy. So tell me, why?
Hey guys, Kiwi here, warning of spoilers for Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul up to Season 6, Episode 7. In this video, I'll be breaking down discussing how and why Jimmy and Kim hate Howard Hamlin, targeting him for their latest con during Season 6.
Well, I know that you hate me, Howard. All right. You better believe feeling goes both ways.
Like the video if you end up enjoying it, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter for more Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad updates. If you really enjoy what I do here, support the Patreon or give back to the channel by clicking the super thanks button under the video. With that being said, let's jump into the breakdown.
What justification makes it okay? Howard's such an asshole, he deserves it. I sided with Chuck too often. I took away your office, put you in doc review, all of the above. Howard's daddy helped him get to the top, but you both had to struggle. Howie has so much, we have so little. Let's take him down a peg or two.
So as I said during my 607 review, Howard's epic final monologue brought up many possible examples as to why Jimmy and Kim would plot against him. In this video I'll be breaking down discussing every reason that Howard listed off, along with a handful of other reasons from throughout the show that Howard wasn't even aware of. I think that Howard is a morally decent person, who clearly sees each situation for what it truly is. Jimmy and Kim compartmentalize situations and tell themselves excuses due to not wanting to deal with the facts at face value, while Howard sees them for who they truly are. Do they think that he's an asshole that deserves it? It's true that Howard was originally written to be the main antagonist in Season 1, but the creators actually were unsure on whether Howard was a good guy or not. They hired Patrick Fabian to play Howard because they could tell that he had a decency to him that would give Howard depth instead of just being a one-dimensional villain. Also, after they saw what Michael McKean brought to the table as Chuck, the creators quickly decided to make Chuck the true antagonist of the early seasons, creating the reveal that Howard isn't such a bad guy, and that Chuck was behind everything that Howard was initially blamed for. I don't think that Howard is a saint, and that he is a dynamic character. He unintentionally comes across as a prick due to being so stiff while speaking professionally, even when he's trying to be nice.
Yeah, they're gonna love you, Howard. You're so down to earth and relatable.
Howard's stiff personality really does make him seem like a corporate prick, but there's a lot more to him than that. He always tries to do his best, even when Chuck and Jimmy are pressing his hand in certain situations. Howard thought that Jimmy had promise, and appreciated his work ethic, nicknaming him Charlie Hustle.
I always liked you, Jimmy. Remember? I used to call you Charlie Hustle.
Yeah, I remember that.
Howard also thought that Kim was a great legal mind, mentoring her along with paying for her schooling.
One of the smartest and most promising human beings I've ever known.
So although Howard may come across as an ass, it's not his intention, and he's really a nice guy. Even when he was rude to Kim in Season 1, telling her to keep her opinions to herself because he doesn't care, that was clearly him pretending to be mean in order to keep Chuck's true intentions a secret.
I believe that you're way out of your depth in this matter. The next time that you want to come in here and tell me what I'm doing wrong, you are welcome to keep it to yourself, because I don't care.
Also, if you remember the end of that scene, it involves Howard telling Kim to close the door to tell her the truth about Chuck, as he couldn't handle being that much of an ass to her because that's not him, and he didn't want Kim to think less of him.
Stop. Close the door.
Howard supported Chuck not only due to being his partner at the firm, but also due to Chuck's relationship with Howard's dad. Hamlin Sr. and Chuck created Hamlin and McGill, only afterwards hiring Howard to add another H to the logo.
Oh, I was ready to take on the world, make a difference. Dad talked me out of it, wanted me to join the ranks here, throw another H in the firm's logo.
Howard told Kim when she quit HHM that he wanted to start up his own solo practice, but was convinced by his father to join HHM to add another H to the logo, which is what changed Hamlin McGill to HHM in the first place. This ties into what Howard said in episode 607 in regards to
Howard's daddy helped him get to the top, but you both had to struggle. Howie has so much, we have so little.
It's possible that Jimmy and Kim could have held resentment against Howard for his father helping him get to the top, while meanwhile Jimmy and Kim had to quote-unquote struggle. Although Howard's career is a clear sign of nepotism, I don't think that's the reason why Jimmy and Kim hate him. I think that's more of a self-imposed reason that Howard thought of as to why Jimmy and Kim could hate him due to other people in the past possibly judging Howard for it. Yes, it's hypocritical to not hire Jimmy at HHM due to the fear of nepotism. That was just an excuse due to Chuck hating Jimmy because becoming a lawyer. Also, Jimmy told Chuck in season 1 that he practically created the firm himself while the Hamlins were too busy golfing or something.
Hamlin owes you everything. You built that place single-handedly while he was out at Four Hills working on his bunker shot.
Let's not exaggerate. I helped.
You helped.
But Chuck stayed mostly modest in that regard. It wasn't until near the end of season 3, when Howard was trying to blackmail Chuck to retire, that Chuck was honest about practically creating the success of HHM by himself, implying that Howard's father was nothing before Chuck joined, and that they only became successful due to Chuck, along with Chuck mentoring Howard to be the lawyer that he eventually became.
This is my firm. I built it. Your father was working in a 2-room office when I joined him. I tutored for the bar exam.
So not only did Howard look up to Chuck due to Chuck being his father's friend, with Howard's father presumably dead, Chuck was the closest thing that Howard had to a father figure.
I sided with Chuck too often.
Howard did side with Chuck too often.
You're serious? I walk in here with a multi-million-dollar class action lawsuit, and you don't want me? Why in Christ not?
Although the reveal that Chuck was Jimmy's true antagonist instead of Howard did somewhat clear Howard's name, it didn't make him completely innocent. It was Chuck who secretly didn't want to hire Jimmy, but Howard still went along with it due to not wanting to cause tension between Chuck and himself.
Someone walks in with a case like this, you beg them to be partner. Tell me why. You didn't want me then, okay? You don't want me now? Explain it!
We know from the end of season 1 that it was Chuck who called Howard secretly at night on Jimmy's phone to tell Howard to not hire Jimmy when they went in the next day to hand over the Sandpiper case. Not only that, but Howard completely took the fall for this.
Majority decision has been made by myself and the partners. All due respect to you, Chuck. We are not taking in any new associates into the firm.
With Chuck even pretending to be surprised in the moment.
Howard, I don't know what to say. I am very disappointed. I really think you should reconsider.
I'm sorry, but no.
Due to this, it was also implied that Chuck was the one who sent Howard down to Jimmy during his bar celebration party in the mailroom during the season 1 flashback to tell Jimmy that he wouldn't be hired at HHM, totally killing the mood. This was also later confirmed in the show as well.
You told him not to hire me. It's always you, right? Right back to when I passed the bar and tried to join the firm. You didn't want me.
Also, notice when Howard tells them best of luck, he gives a side glance at Chuck because he knows that all of this is really his fault. Although Chuck forced Howard to deny Jimmy a job multiple times at HHM, he must have felt bad about it as he helped Jimmy get a job at Davis & Maine in season 2.
And believe it or not, Howard's been pushing this too.
Good old Howard.
And if Howard were my puppet, he certainly wouldn't have recommended you to Davis in Maine. Actually, I'm sure it was Kim Wexler who talked him into doing that.
With Howard, because ultimately I talked him into going out on a limb for you too.
Not only that, but Howard finally offered Jimmy a job in season 5 after successfully processing the depression from Chuck's death.
I'd like you to come work at HHM.
You want me to work for you after all this shit that's happened between us?
This isn't a spur-of-the-moment decision, Jimmy. I have been considering this for a while.
Even though it was too little too late, it's the thought that counts, right?
Hamlin McGill did you wrong. Your name is a part of that firm. Now it's tainted. We took your legacy away from you. And you know what? We should have hired you.
With that said, Howard is still a pushover, allowing Chuck to use him as a puppet. After the constant vendetta against Jimmy and even Kim by proxy, you think that Howard would have eventually grown a backbone and stood up to Chuck.
You deserved a shot, and I could have given it to you when you got barred or when you brought a sandpiper. Both times. I should have shown some backbone. It would have been the right thing to do.
Eventually, during seasons 2 and 3, Howard did make subtle suggestions to Chuck to stop his vendetta against Jimmy, but it was too subtle and polite, with Howard still being a pushover, just allowing Chuck to do what he wanted.
Going to that meeting.
Chuck, I don't know if that's a good idea. I'm fine covering it myself. Kevin and Paige don't need both of us there. I'm just worried about your comfort.
I find victory laps very comforting.
And if you're not up to it, just throwing this out there, maybe you don't need to testify at all. It's already a solid case. Maybe there's no need to put you through the ringer like this.
It wasn't until after the chicanery episode, along with Jimmy messing with Chuck's insurance, that caused Howard to finally stand up to Chuck, but by then, again, it was too little too late, and we all know how that ended up.
You want me to retire over this? The insurance?
It's not just the insurance. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. But your decision-making has become unpredictable. I can't be partners with someone whose judgment I don't trust.
Howard still could have hired Jimmy or stopped punishing Kim, but he had Chuck's hand so far up his ass that he would literally do anything Chuck said instead of making his own decisions.
But tell me, when Howard was making his management decisions, was he sitting on your knee with your arm up his ass? Hey, can he talk while you drink a glass of water?
Even in season 1, after Jimmy realized that Chuck was controlling Howard, Jimmy tells Howard that he's not such a bad guy, and he apologized for being so rude to Howard due to not knowing the truth.
I figured it out on my own. About time, right?
You know, Jimmy, I never wanted it to go this way. If it had been up to me, we would have at least...
Howard, I get it. Sorry I called you a pig f***er.
So my point from all this rambling is that although Howard was just Chuck's puppet, with Chuck being the true villain, Howard is still somewhat to blame for allowing Chuck to use him like that along with supporting his decisions. The next point I wanted to discuss was throwing Kim in doc review. Kim was punished by Chuck and Howard due to being aware to the commercial that Jimmy aired at Davis & Maine in season 2 without the firm's permission.
I can't believe Davis and Maine went for it. Cliff Maine was fine with this.
Why wouldn't he be? The response has been...
You ran a commercial without ever showing it to me, without first consulting me and my partners. Did you actually think that was gonna fly?
The thing is, Kim knew about the commercial, but Jimmy lied to her about Cliff allowing it.
Cliff, when you see this...
I know you.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. See ya.
Golden boy.
It's me.
Kim didn't know that Jimmy hadn't gotten it approved, something that Jimmy admits to Chuck after Kim was already being punished.
She didn't know I hadn't gotten it approved. So she didn't know there was anything she was supposed to tell Howard. As far as she was concerned, Cliff Maine was already looped in.
She didn't say anything to us about that.
You didn't think I deserved a heads up.
I didn't realize at the time, I didn't think it was necessary.
Well, you were wrong.
She wouldn't. She wouldn't want to make me look bad.
Kim was primarily the one who got Jimmy the job going into season 2, but it was also due to Howard putting in a good word for Jimmy since we know that Howard was such good friends with Cliff.
You embarrassed Howard, who, God help him, inexplicably vouched for you with Cliff Maine.
And yes, Kim had to convince Howard, meaning that if Jimmy messed up while working there, it would make Howard look bad and in turn result in Kim getting punished.
I put myself on the line to get you this job. You know I believe in you, but then I made my beliefs known to them, and now everything you do reflects back on me. It's my word, it's my judgment.
This is why she had her office taken away in the first place and put in a doc review. And Kim even warned Jimmy of this, but he did it anyways.
I told you this would happen.
He can't blame you for this.
I warned you he would. No, that's Howard, who has an image to uphold. He did the same thing after the Kettleman fiasco, and Chuck was nowhere in sight.
Even with that in mind, I do agree with what Jimmy said in season 2 in regards to Chuck extorting Jimmy through Kim.
Howard can't just stick you in doc review because of something I did, plus at an entirely different law firm. What the hell kind of sense does that make? Chuck is punishing you to get to me. This is extortion, pure and simple.
Of course, Chuck never admitted it, as he can't even admit rolling around in the dirt himself, let alone to anyone else.
What do you say? You help Kim, I quit the law. Is that a deal?
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't say it, but that's what you want, right? That's why you put the screws to Kim in the first place, to squeeze me!
I didn't say that.
So Kim tries to work her way out of doc review by getting HHM new clients, which is how she found Mesa Verde. Kim successfully gets Mesa Verde as a new client for HHM, thinking that she'll be rewarded and given back her office, but Howard keeps her in doc review even after everything she went through.
Congratulations.
Right back at you.
I'll circle back with Paige, get the ball rolling.
I'll put Francis on that. You've got enough on your plate in doc review.
This is one of the major reasons why Kim grew a resentment against Howard, causing her to eventually quit HHM and venture off with Jimmy. The first few times I watched these episodes, I did think that Howard was an asshole for doing this to her, but there's more to it than that. During one of Howard's late night visits to Chuck, they discussed Kim being in doc review. Howard told Chuck that Kim did a good job recently finding Mesa Verde as a client, and Chuck asked if he'd be taking her out of doc review.
Kim Wexler brought them in.
Fourth-year associate snags $250,000 in billings. She's out of the doghouse, I assume.
We'll see.
This subtle direction by Chuck is technically up for interpretation, but it's just the way that he said it to Howard. It implies that he'd be disappointed if Howard did pull her out of the doghouse, so to speak.
She's out of the doghouse, I assume.
And Jimmy did tell Kim this, but she didn't seem as sold on the idea as I am.
I'm telling you, Chuck is behind this.
No, you are behind this. I told you this would happen, and now I'm paying the price.
She just kept saying how she warned Jimmy that if he did anything bad, she'd get in trouble for it due to convincing Howard to recommend him in the first place.
I should have known better.
This shows a lack of judgment on her part. She knows you.
She should have known better.
You turned Kim into your accessory.
Now, I'm not saying that Howard was completely Chuck's puppet in season 2 the way he was in season 1. I'm just trying to point out the fact that Chuck was still influencing Howard. I don't think this situation is just Chuck or just Howard, it's both of them for various reasons. For Howard, he was mad that Jimmy messed up with the commercial, which reflected badly on him and Kim and HHM as a whole due to vouching for Jimmy in the first place. Howard's reputation did take a hit, so he was upset by this.
And if Howard were my puppet, he certainly wouldn't have recommended you to Davis and Maine. Actually, I'm sure it was Kim Wexler who talked him into doing that, hence his anger.
In regards to Chuck, he was taking out his anger about Jimmy on Kim and agreed to punish her. Even if Howard was the one who was initially mad, Chuck went along with it due to his own vendetta against Jimmy and Kim by proxy. When Jimmy confronted Chuck, he first tried blaming the decision on Howard.
I mean, I was present, yes, but management of personnel, those decisions are all Howard's.
But during their meeting with Kim, Chuck was clearly very much upset. Chuck tried telling Jimmy that Kim being punished had nothing to do with him.
I know you like to think the world revolves around you, Jimmy, but this has nothing to do with you.
But Jimmy says how Kim didn't know that he hadn't gotten the commercial approved, so it's his fault, not hers. When Jimmy called Chuck out about extorting them, he all but admitted it, implying that it was his intention to extort Jimmy through Kim and that's what he wants, but he never wanted to say it out loud like Jimmy wanted due to knowing that it was a felony.
And I would never say that.
Why not?
Because if I were impeding the career of one of my employees for the purpose of compelling you to do something against your will, that would be extortion.
And note how it was only after Chuck had that early morning chat with Kim at HHM that he helped Kim get her office back. Chuck slandered Jimmy's character to Kim.
My brother is not a bad person. He has a good heart. He can't help himself, and everyone's left picking up the pieces.
This was Chuck's way of manipulating Kim against Jimmy. Chuck went along with Howard punishing Kim initially due to Jimmy's actions because he knew that it'd drive a wedge between Kim and Jimmy. Since that wasn't enough, Chuck took it upon himself to try and manipulate Kim against Jimmy by talking to her himself.
My brother left you holding the bag. If it makes you feel any better, you're not the first person to go out on a limb for him. I made the same mistake over and over again. Now Howard has, and he blames you.
After Chuck was happy about getting what he wanted, only then did he talk to Howard to get Kim out of doc review. Chuck tried pretending to be the good guy here by telling her that he talked to Howard, but that was only after Chuck was satisfied in getting what he wanted by speaking to Kim about Jimmy.
I'll talk to Howard. Pour a little oil on troubled waters. You're being wasted down in doc review. Good job with Mesa Verde.
So honestly, in regards to who's to blame for being so hard on Kim in season 2, I do think it's a 50-50 split between Chuck and Howard. Howard did make his own decisions and continuously punished Kim. Even when Kim left HHM, Howard told her,
Kim, I want you to know that I always pushed you harder because I knew that I could expect more from you.
taking responsibility for punishing Kim instead of just blaming Chuck for using him as his puppet. Howard also seemed upset that Chuck got Kim out at doc review, as when Kim told Howard that she didn't try to tell Chuck to do so, he just ignored her and kept a straight face.
I don't know exactly what Chuck may have said to you, but just so you know, I did not ask him to step in on my behalf.
I could go back and forth on this for ages in regards to if Chuck or Howard was more to blame, but the short answer is that they both were, equally, but due to different intentions and reasons.
Come on, Chuck, extort me! Say quit, and I will quit, but I need to hear it from your mouth.
You want me to commit a felony? Because that's what you do, right? Because you want to believe that deep down I'm some hypocrite.
Let's find out.
Moving on, in episode 308, Kim had a lunch meeting with Kevin and Paige, but she notices Howard walking with some clients and tries not to let it bother her. Remember, this is awkward due to Kim's constant tug-of-war battle against HHM for Mesa Verde as a client. Howard walks over to their table to catch up, trying to keep things positive, but comes off as a prick. This is due to telling Kim to sit when she stands up to greet him, along with giving her backhanded compliments by implying that she's only such a good lawyer because she used to work at HHM.
Well, Kim's one of the best. You're lucky to have her. Seems like just yesterday she was logging hours in doc review.
It's possible that Howard was passive-aggressive on purpose. His character just naturally comes across as a prick even when he's trying to be nice. It's just the way that Kim perceives it. Kim has a tendency to get offended by Howard and what he says to her.
Always a pleasure to see one of our proteges spread her wings and leave the nest.
Kim excuses herself from the table with Paige and Kevin to go write a check, and then walks over to Howard's table to give it to him. As Kim approaches Howard's table, he goes to stand to greet her, but she tells him to sit, and that she insists, the exact same way that he just did to her.
Kim, sit. I insist. Hello again.
Howard, sit. I insist.
Implying that she found it very condescending. Howard politely introduces Kim to his clients, and they go their separate ways, with Howard looking at the check confused. And then outside the restaurant after lunch, Howard confronts Kim about the check, asking her what it's all about. Kim rudely says that it's pretty self-explanatory. Kim says that it never sat right with her that HHM paid her off for the law school fees, to which Howard says that it sat right with her at the time.
Our gift to you.
I don't know what to say. Thank you.
You earned it.
I appreciate the gift, but now that I'm able to afford it, I want to pay you back.
Well, you appreciate the gift.
Yes, I do.
This is clearly an excuse by Kim due to being confronted by Howard outside, while her actual reasoning was to get back at Howard for being so condescending to her in front of Kevin and Paige. This check was a passive-aggressive stab back at Howard, and he realizes this.
Look, Howard, you were very generous when I left HHM, but it never sat right with me that you covered my law school loans.
Seemed to sit right at the time.
I'm grateful for everything you and the firm have done for me, especially the financial help with my schooling, and I'm ready to write a check for the remainder of the loan. I just need accounting to get me that figure.
No need.
Howard talks back to her, saying that he's doing damage control, having restaurant meetings with his clients 3 meals a day due to Chuck's public outburst on trial from episode 305 chicanery, ruining HHM's reputation. Howard says that Jimmy and Kim drug HHM's reputation through the mud, but Kim just says that she defended her client, which is obviously a biased answer considering it was Jimmy.
I did everything in my power to defend my client.
Oh, is that what you're calling it?
That's the job, Howard.
Kim tells Howard that it was convenient for him to ignore Chuck's illness when it suited him. This could go back to season 1 with Howard not wanting to cash out Chuck like Jimmy wanted, but that's because Howard was supporting Chuck's decision and confidence that he would get back to work again soon.
Chuck still works here. He doesn't. He never will again. It's time to do right by him and cash him out. It's been nearly a year since he set foot in here. I'm just doing what's in his best interest.
So am I. And I, for one, believe he's gonna lick this thing.
Also, although Jimmy did care about Chuck, he only wanted Chuck to cash out due to Jimmy being completely broke.
You gotta cash out. Chuck, I'm going under, okay? For the 3rd time.
The money is beside the point.
Money is not beside the point. Money is the point.
Jimmy had a selfish reason for arguing his side, while Howard had a genuine reason for wanting to support Chuck.
And the two of you agreed that since, as everybody knows, you're going back to work any day now, that the firm should help you make ends meet.
That's correct, minus the sarcasm.
Hamlin's making you a chump!
I'm going to get better. I'm going to go back to work, and I'm picking up where I left off.
And yes, both Jimmy and Howard, trying to help defend Chuck's mental condition as a physical one, unintentionally aided and enabled it to get worse, but they were just trying to support Chuck in his decisions.
I'm the one doing the heavy lifting here. That white gas he was talking about, who do you think brings him that? And milk and bread and toilet paper and ice and every other damn thing he needs.
Is that helping or enabling?
This links back to Dr. Cruz's first appearance in season 1, where she warned Jimmy that not committing Chuck was just enabling his illness to potentially get worse instead of giving him the help that he really needed.
If you testify in a custodial hearing, he can get the help he needs. You have the power to help your brother, truly help him.
Now, Howard says that he took Kim out of the mailroom, paid for his schooling, and mentored her. He then states how ridiculous it is that when Kim leaves and stabs him in the back that it's somehow his fault, which is a pretty good point.
So I take you out of the mailroom, put you through law school, mentor you, and then when you leave and stab me in the back, that's my fault? I'm not cashing this.
A somewhat forgettable but important scene where Howard is incredibly rude to Jimmy is during episode 309. This is possibly another reason why Jimmy hated Howard, along with setting up Jimmy to actually force the Sandpiper case to settle. After learning from Irene how much Sandpiper was ready to settle for,
$1,160,000. Holy shit.
Jimmy goes to Howard to try and convince him. Jimmy tries pretending to take the high road, saying that it's in everyone's best interest to settle. Jimmy adds that HHM is screwing over the Sandpiper clients by not settling to try and squeeze out every last drop they can, making the case go on for longer than it has to. Howard can tell that Jimmy just wants his payout. Howard is extremely rude to Jimmy here.
So now you're worried about the clients.
It's the right thing to do, and you know it.
Please. All you care about is your share of the payout. It's like talking to Gollum. You're transparent and pathetic.
Howard tells Jimmy that the next time he might as well bring a tin cup and be more honest. Howard even belittles him by taking out some cash and handing it to Jimmy as if he really wants a handout.
You want a handout? Here, huh? Next time, why don't you bring a tin cup and be more honest?
When Jimmy insists that they settle, Howard doubles down that it's not in everyone's interest, just Jimmy's. Howard questions what he'll do if they don't settle, implying that Jimmy will scheme and con his way into forcing them to settle.
And if we don't, what are you gonna do? Peel off some members of the class? Leak some insider info to Schweikert? Oh, I doubt it.
Howard adds that he doesn't think Jimmy will do that, as it'll just negatively affect his payout.
I know you're low enough to do something like that, but you're too damn greedy. You do any of that, you'll be jeopardizing your payday.
As Howard goes into the elevator, he tells Jimmy that he'll get his money, but that he just has to wait. Here, Howard is really being an asshole, plain and simple. This is 100% Howard too. Chuck isn't controlling him to say this, and it's not like other situations where someone takes what he says the wrong way.
You'll get your damn money. You're just gonna have to wait for it.
Howard is straight up being a dick, and there's no way to really defend the way that he acts here. Now, I love the way that they bring back the topic of the Sandpiper case here, after most viewers forgetting about it during the events of Season 3. And this is also a continuous theme throughout the entire series, as the Sandpiper settlement just keeps coming back and back until it finally blows up in Season 6. We know that this was also foreshadowing due to Jimmy and Kim's long con in Season 6 to do exactly what Howard predicted here, forcing Sandpiper to settle. Now in season 4, Kim went to HHM on Jimmy's behalf to collect what Chuck left behind for him in his will, which was not much. Kim is visibly upset the whole time and then confronts Howard alone.
What were you thinking when you came to Jimmy on the day of his brother's funeral and laid that shit on him?
Kim asks Howard what he's thinking, telling Jimmy that Chuck killed himself, and Kim asks Howard what's wrong with him, to which Howard says that he owed it to Jimmy.
I thought I owed it to Jimmy to tell him.
Now in episode 401, Jimmy had just got back from the funeral and Howard suggested that Chuck killed himself, with Howard taking the blame for it. Jimmy was clearly still in shock, so it was somewhat inconsiderate for Howard to drop this bomb so soon, instead of just giving it a day or two or even a week. That being said, the way that Kim acts in this scene really does bother me. I'll get more into it during my season 4 tier list, but Jimmy had already suspected that something bad happened, and Howard was just trying to be nice and do the right thing. Kim tells Howard that his actions are coming across as hurtful and just making the situation worse, even though Howard is trying to do his best to make things better as much as he can. Kim does make a good point that Howard didn't tell Rebecca that Chuck killed himself.
Did you owe it to Rebecca? You tell her your theory? I guess not. I guess you just saved that one for Jimmy.
But the way that Kim words this implies that Howard did it to hurt Jimmy, along with saying that Howard confessed selfishly just to make himself feel better.
I didn't do it to hurt Jimmy.
No, you did it to make yourself feel better.
That's not what I was trying to do.
To make yourself feel better by unloading your guilt.
Howard responds to both accusations, saying how that wasn't his intention. That's not fair to Kim to accuse him of this. Kim yells at Howard for suggesting that Jimmy should search through the burned house where Chuck died, screaming, among other things, such as wanting Jimmy to serve on the board of a scholarship committee, which is something that Chuck would have never done.
Who cares what it does to Jimmy, right? As long as Howard Hamlin is okay.
Kim, I don't think that's fair.
Fair? Let's talk about fair.
Kim then calls Chuck's letter to Jimmy one last screw you from beyond the grave, asking if she's really supposed to do this to him.
Oh, what's this too, huh, Howard? What's in this? One last screw you, little brother, from beyond the grave?
Which was amazing acting by Ray Seahorn. Even if I disagree with Kim during this moment, I gotta give credit where it's due and acknowledge that Ray had some of her best acting out of the entire series in this moment, which says a lot considering that she's always amazing at playing Kim.
Am I really supposed to do this to him?
Howard can tell that no matter what he does, it'll be taken the wrong way, so he asks what he can do to make it better. Kim tells him that there's nothing he can do and to stay away.
What can I do to make it better?
Nothing. There is nothing you can do. Just stay away.
So I understand where Kim is coming from, but I still hate how she attacks Howard in this scene. Everything Howard has said and done in season 4 in regards to the aftermath of Chuck's death has been with good intentions and consideration. Once again, Kim gets offended at every action that Howard takes, twisting his good intentions into malicious hate. I bet if Kim knew that Jimmy was actually responsible for Chuck's death due to being guilty from messing with Chuck's insurance, Kim would have acted a lot different here. Since Jimmy never told Kim about the insurance, Kim just assumes that Howard is guilty and that he was admitting his guilt to make himself feel better. Little did Kim know that Jimmy actually offloaded his guilt onto Howard, which is horrible enough in itself, but Kim screaming at Howard for it is just rubbing salt in the wound. And speaking of rubbing salt in the wound, look at episode 406 where Jimmy gives Howard a hard time for HHM having setbacks due to Chuck's death.
Your pain is very special. Woe is you. Just stop wallowing, okay? This place is all you've got.
Undermining Chuck's death as a minor setback.
Oh, please, you suffer one little setback and you're gonna let your entire legacy go?
One little setback.
Jimmy knows that he offloaded the guilt of Chuck's death onto Howard, and he further pushes it by rubbing it in Howard's face, telling him he's a shitty lawyer.
Hey, you're a shitty lawyer, Howard, but you're a great salesman. So get out there and sell.
And I would say that this FU Jimmy is another reason why they hate him, but this is the exact response that Jimmy wanted, further offloading the guilt.
F you, Jimmy.
There you go. Use that.
But another reason why Jimmy hates Howard is due to the fact that Howard was able to properly process Chuck's death while Jimmy couldn't. Howard never listed this off in episode 607 because it was something that he was unaware of. Jimmy never learned the lesson that he should have learned from Chuck's death. Jimmy messed with the Mesa Verde numbers, publicly embarrassed Chuck on trial with the battery trick, and messed up Chuck's insurance, leading to Chuck's suicide. Jimmy was subliminally jealous of Howard being able to process Chuck's death after seeing his new Namaste lifestyle in season 5. This made him envy Howard. It's especially cruel considering that Jimmy pushed the guilt of Chuck's death onto Howard, making Howard feel that way in the first place, when really it was Jimmy's fault due to messing with Chuck's insurance. This is the main reason why Jimmy messed with Howard in season 5.
I don't know you and owe no money to you. That's it.
Don't touch her!
Oh, God, I'm good.
Along with being one of the reasons why Jimmy never took his job offer at HHM. Obviously, along with the fact that it was something that Chuck would have never wanted.
I'd like you to come work at HHM. Just touching base to see if you've had any thoughts on what we talked about. So, have you thought any more about the job?
which also links back to the fact that Howard wanted Jimmy to be on the board of a scholarship, which again is something that Chuck would have never wanted.
You want him to serve on the board of a scholarship committee? A scholarship that Chuck never in a million years would have given to Jimmy.
Not only that, but it was also insult to injury having Howard offer Jimmy a job at HHM too little too late after Chuck's death, after originally denying Jimmy the job multiple times in the past due to Chuck. Jimmy ruins the lives of people around him. Usually he means well, but his ends justify the means attitude is hardly ever correct.
You see, that's your problem, Jimmy, thinking the ends justify the means. And you're forever shocked when it all blows up in your face.
Jimmy was considering the idea of processing Chuck's death properly in season 4, but seeing Howard so distraught due to going through grief and depression from Chuck's death further solidified Jimmy never wanting to have to go through that himself, symbolically implied by Jimmy ripping up and flushing the number to a therapist. Because Jimmy never processed Chuck's death while Howard did, Jimmy still has all of those emotions bottled up, while Howard was able to get through them and try to move on. Since Jimmy offloaded the guilt of Chuck onto Howard due to seeing him as a scapegoat for the guilt, Jimmy is frustrated that Howard was able to work through it all when meanwhile Jimmy was still stuck in step 1.
It seems I've upset you.
You upset me? How'd you upset me?
Oh, and don't forget Jimmy's outburst towards Howard near the end of season 5, which was Jimmy emptying all of his bottled up emotions by yelling at Howard. Jimmy hates Howard instead of hating himself due to never fully processing his feelings about Chuck.
You have no idea what's going on.
So Jimmy hating Howard is more about himself, using Howard as an excuse to not deal with his emotions.
You kill my brother, and you say you're sorry?
On some level, Jimmy is self-aware of this, due to telling Kim in the season 5 finale that Howard doesn't deserve being burnt down for the sandpiper money.
He doesn't deserve that.
Now, Jimmy did resist doing the Howard scam with Kim at first, but this is due to Kim never knowing the full ramifications of how guilty Jimmy was in regards to Chuck's death due to the insurance situation back in season 3. Howard took on the responsibility of Jimmy's guilt about Chuck's death, and Jimmy let him.
I think he did what he did because of me.
Well, Howard, I guess that's your cross to bear.
Howard went through all the normal stages of grief, dealing with a close death, and guilt, grief, depression, struggling to work through it to the point that he got a therapist.
You ever have insomnia? Wouldn't wish it on the worst enemy.
And then he got insomnia and other issues, but he came out the other side wanting to be a better person. Howard did everything that Jimmy should have, but didn't. Jimmy just compartmentalized his feelings about Chuck's death instead of processing them, so when he saw Howard properly doing so, it made him jealous and envious towards Howard and hate him even more for it. Now, moving on to the next reason why Kim hates Howard. It has to do with a conversation that Kim had with Howard in episode 510 when Howard tried confiding with her on how Jimmy was messing with him.
I just think before you make any big changes in your life, there's something about Jimmy you ought to hear.
In episode 510, after hearing that Kim has left Schweikart and Coakley along with Mesa Verde, Howard takes Kim aside to speak. Howard is worried that Kim is throwing away a successful career and is concerned that it may be due to Jimmy, similar to when Kim left HHM to open a solo practice in the same office as Jimmy.
It makes no sense to drop a client like Mesa Verde. I gotta think Jimmy had something to do with that.
Now, yes, back then it was because Jimmy was trying to offer her to work with him, but that wasn't the only reason. Kim did quit due to feeling underappreciated by Howard and not getting her out a doc review and giving her rewards for getting Mesa Verde. So although Jimmy did influence Kim to quit HHM in season 2, along with influencing Kim to quit Schweikart and Coakley and Mesa Verde in season 5, Jimmy isn't the only reason. It's not that black and white, so Howard is wrong for assuming so. He's kinda half right, but he's also half wrong. And by the way, Kim quit Schweikart and Coakley and dropped Mesa Verde because she wanted to do what she enjoyed with her life, and working for a bank just wasn't fulfilling. She wanted to help pro bono clients, along with her looking at that Zafiro and Yeho bottle stopper implied that she wanted to do what she loved, conning with Jimmy. At the end of season 5, Kim reassessed her life and what made her happy, as working with Mesa Verde made her feel hollow inside even with all the success she had. Kim wants to con with Jimmy, as aside from helping the pro bono clients, it's what truly makes her the happiest. Howard confronting her gives her the perfect excuse to use him as her next conning target. Howard tells Kim that the last time he tried to get something off his chest, it didn't go well.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Referencing the season 4 events in regards to Howard trying to help after Chuck's death. Now Howard confides in Kim, telling her about Jimmy throwing bowling balls at his car and sending hookers to his lunch.
A little while ago, I offered Jimmy a job at HHM. I'm guessing he didn't mention it to you. He said he had to think about it. But then the very next night, he threw bowling balls over my front gate.
Howard is speaking to the professional side of Kim that he knew from the first few seasons, unaware that Kim has a similar con man side to her just like Jimmy.
A couple of weeks later, I'm having lunch with Cliff Maine, and I'm accosted by 2 prostitutes. Actual prostitutes. Jimmy had sent them to make a scene.
Howard thinks that Kim is able to speak to reason, unaware that she is already too far gone, and supports Jimmy's schemes.
I confronted Jimmy about it, and after some hemming and hawing, he all but confessed.
Once again, Howard is trying to help, and this time Kim does see what he's trying to do, but she is completely on board with Jimmy and his schemes.
Howard is thrown, and he's surprised, and he's concerned. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He's trying to warn her.
It's one last act of goodness that he can do with this whole sordid episode.
Howard thinks that he can get through to her, but Kim supports Jimmy. So instead of responding to these correct accusations against Jimmy properly like any normal person would, Kim just laughs in Howard's face and defends Jimmy.
And that's it? Sorry.
This was a big subversion of expectations, as a normal person would believe Howard and get mad at Jimmy for what he did. Kim does the exact opposite.
Howard, you really had me going there.
Kim pretends that she doesn't believe Howard, along with redirecting the conversation to instead make it about her and the way that Howard is speaking to her. In order to get out of this conversation, Kim redirects it by finding reasons to get mad at Howard, propping him up as the bad guy instead of getting mad at Jimmy for messing with Howard in the first place. Just like in previous situations, Kim takes it the wrong way, twisting his intentions. Except unlike previous situations where she genuinely meant it, here she's purposely using it as an excuse to get out of Howard's accusations. When Howard says that he thinks that Jimmy had something to do with Kim dropping Mesa Verde, she lashes out at him, saying that she can make her own decisions and that she's offended Howard would even think this. Kim is obsessed with making her own decisions, so I don't doubt that this actually does offend her, but she's purposely exaggerating it to get Howard off her back.
Do you have any idea how insulting that is? I make my own decisions for my own reasons.
Kim says that she knows Jimmy and that Howard is wrong, but this is untrue. Howard is right while Kim is wrong, and she knows this.
The scene between Howard and Kim is really a tough one because Howard's right.
I'm really the only other one who knows what the reality is.
Kim is lying to Howard's face and attacking him to get him to back off.
You gotta listen to me. The man needs help.
Howard, I know Jimmy, and you're wrong.
Howard's right.
Howard says that Chuck knew Jimmy and walks out.
You know who really knew Jimmy? Chuck.
Kim lying and telling Howard that he's wrong definitely reminds me of their confrontation outside the restaurant in season 3 that we discussed, where Kim lies by using Howard paying off her school fees not sitting right with her as an excuse for the check, which again was actually a way to stab Howard back for belittling her in front of Kevin and Paige.
Laugh if you want, but no person in their right mind would behave the way Jimmy has. We are talking about someone who's not in control of himself.
Now later on in episode 510, Kim brings up how Howard confronted her to Jimmy.
So I ran into Howard at the courthouse today. Bowling balls, prostitutes.
But instead of getting mad at Jimmy for messing with Howard, she talks about how selfish Howard is and how everything is about him.
It's all about him. It's always all about him. The guy is in love with himself. He needed to be taken down a peg.
Howie has so much, we have so little. Let's take him down a peg or two.
This proves that Kim wasn't just pretending to support Jimmy in front of Howard to get him to back off and also to stay loyal to Jimmy, but that she actually does feel this way.
Was that just her putting on a role, or is she that implacable?
Kim likes how Jimmy messed with Howard, so she's finding reasons to make Howard the bad guy when she knows that Jimmy is. It's almost like she's in denial of the truth and doesn't want to admit it, instead of rationalizing how Howard is bad instead.
You know why Hamlin told me all that? It was for my own good. Like I'm just waiting for him to ride up on his white horse.
It's surprising that Kim doesn't get mad at Jimmy for messing with Howard and instead wants to take it further, leading to the season 6 cons against the Sandpiper case to force Howard and Cliff to settle.
So, what's next?
Again, Howard confronted Kim at the wrong time in 510, causing her to want to mess with him even more so after hearing how Jimmy originally did. Kim supporting Jimmy messing with Howard causes them to brainstorm in other ways that they can mess with him in the future, which excites them to the point that they end up having sex. Afterwards, Kim doubles down that she's serious, and she says that she wants to mess with Howard in order to force Sandpiper to settle so they can get their share of the common fund and become millionaires. Here we learn that Jimmy thinks that Howard doesn't deserve this, as he may never be able to come back from it.
To get a bunch of lawyers to run for the exits, Howard would have to have done something unforgivable. At the end of it, he might never be able to practice law again. He doesn't deserve that.
Kim tries downplaying how bad Howard would be burned by this, just calling it
a career setback for one lawyer.
This leads to Kim's finger guns in the season 5 finale, a really iconic moment, also paralleling Jimmy's double pointers in the season 4 finale, also iconic.
It's all good, man.
At the end of season 5, we're left with the same emotion as Jimmy, shocked that Kim can live with this and wants to do it anyways.
Kim doing this, it's not you. You would not be okay with it.
Wouldn't I?
You're shitting me, right?
Now in the beginning of season 6, Kim continues to push Jimmy to join her in conning Howard and scheming to settle the Sandpiper case, acting as if they already agreed doing it.
We're doing that?
I thought we were, aren't we?
Jimmy tries backpedaling, surprised that Kim actually wants to go through with it, but he reluctantly agrees. Throughout season 6, Howard thinks that Jimmy's the mastermind, when really it's Kim. When Howard told Cliff in 605 that he had a Jimmy McGill problem, little did he know that he actually had a Kim Wexler problem.
I do have a problem. Just not the problem you think. I have a Jimmy McGill problem.
Jimmy McGill?
You'll have to excuse me.
Howard!
When Howard confronts Jimmy and Kim at the end of episode 607, he's unaware that Kim orchestrated the whole thing, convincing Jimmy to go along with it and not the other way around. This was due to all the arguments that Kim has had with Howard over the course of the entire series, especially during episode 510. I feel like that was the final straw to break the camel's back. This is something that Howard never realized, so he didn't mention it during his final monologue. When Howard listed off all the reasons why he thought Jimmy and Kim hated him at the end of 607, I love how Howard was able to pinpoint so many examples, but then I did start thinking about all the other examples that he wasn't aware of. This topic interested me so much that I cut the majority of this discussion for my 607 review, as there was so much to talk about it would have made that video way too long, and I decided to create an entirely separate video dedicated to discussing all the reasons that Howard knew, along with some reasons that he didn't. During this video, I tried to mention pretty much every major moment and story arc that caused Jimmy and Kim to resent Howard to the point that they went through with the Sandpiper long con in season 6. Let me know what you think about all these reasons, along with any that I may have missed in the comments below. Also, I will admit that I did mix my opinion in with the facts quite a bit in regards to who was really the bad guy in all these situations, so apologies if this video is a bit biased. Some people support Jimmy and Kim, while others support Howard. Although I do defend Howard quite a bit, I feel like I do still somewhat sit on the fence between the two, as I do understand how Jimmy and Kim could perceive Howard as being a passive-aggressive, belittling prick, even though he never really intends to be. So although there's a lot of facts that prove who's right and wrong, a lot of it does come down to personal opinion and preference, similar to how some people hate Walt by the end of Breaking Bad, while others still support him the entire way through. And that's one reason why I love this universe in both shows. There's so many different perspectives and debates that you can have within the fandom where honestly both sides are right. I mean, don't even get me started on the whole Jimmy versus Chuck dynamic from the first 3 seasons. I can go around in spirals down the rabbit hole for hours. It's just that personally for me, by the end of episode 607, or even during 607 before Howard even died, I have completely lost all sympathy for Jimmy and Kim. As I discussed in my 607 review and also on some of Pete Pepper's live streams, Jimmy and Kim were so lovable in the earlier seasons, but after seeing them reach this point, I actually dislike them as people, even though I do still love and appreciate the brilliance of their characters. I appreciate how the creators are making Jimmy and Kim less likable near the end of the series to properly lead into the Saul Goodman that we know from the Breaking Bad timeline. It's as if the creators realized that they made Jimmy and Kim too likable during Better Call Saul, making viewers way too sympathetic towards them, and that the creators needed to destroy that in order to properly transition into the Breaking Bad timeline. So while going back and viewing these earlier scenes, I now have the viewpoint of disliking Jimmy and Kim as people, when previously I supported them and liked them back when these earlier scenes originally aired. So again, let me know what you think about all the reasons why Jimmy and Kim hate Howard in the comments below, but I guess along with the fact of potentially losing sympathy for Jimmy and Kim, and how it can affect the way you view their characters during future rewatches of the series as a whole. Oh, also check out my collab discussion on Pete Pepper's channel, where we discuss news from the 608 screening at the Tribeca Festival, the new character announcement that Bob Odenkirk made, along with the episode 8 teaser breakdown and other various new Better Call Saul Season 6 news. I'll have that video linked in the description along with at the end of this video. It was a lot of fun to do, and I think that Pete did a great job editing that video together. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you enjoyed anything I've said today, or if you're new to the channel or just haven't yet already, subscribe and hit that bell notification to stay updated on when I post new content on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Check out my Patreon or give a super thanks to help support the channel financially. If you got a few spare bucks lying around, it'd mean a lot, and also thanks to those who have already. But most importantly, I thank you all so much for watching, especially if you watched to the end, you're a true MVP, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Things work out the way they're supposed to, I guess.
The scene between Howard and Kim is really a tough one because Howard's right.
I'm really the only other one who knows what the reality is.